Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Okay, so as I said, it's your meeting, so I'll ask the question how I can help. What you would like to talk about today? If I know it, I'll say it. Otherwise, we'll try to find out together. Is there anything that I can help with right now? Any burning issues that you have in your job that you're struggling with? Anything that you think is important to talk about?
I'm stuck in a functional requirement, Saurabh. Can I tell?
Go ahead. We all will give it a
Yeah,
try if needed.
yeah. So actually, what is the scenario that I have purchased one item from a vendor, but some additional work is required for that item. So I send it to another vendor and then receive it back with some additional cost on it. How it can be mapped in, it is NAV 2015.
Hmm.
I try to
Okay,
find out, but could not get anything.
I seriously will have to think about it. It's not something
Okay.
that is on top of my head. But anyone else have any guesses before we move from this? Hopefully no. But Rishikesh, if I find something, I'll send you an email. Okay.
Sure, Saurabh. Thanks a lot.
How about we talk about BC24 then?
Yeah,
Have you
great.
guys started? Have you
Yeah,
guys
I
started
think
playing with it?
not much, but
Mm, okay.
like watch some tutorial, but not that much.
And
Sounds
I think the
fair.
Copilot exists in 2024, isn't it? Or was it already there? I can't recall.
Copilot was already there in
Ah,
BC23, as in
okay.
there were some
23,
instances of
right.
it. Yeah, but it's getting formalized more or less. And let's
Mhm.
give it a minute if needed. Let's talk about it. Um, there are two parts of the whole equation when you talk about Copilot. One is the whole ChatGPT public model that is available, and then there is a service available within your Azure tenant that you can subscribe to. At this moment, that service is on demand. It's not publicly out, but if you have a Azure tenant in your company or personally, what you can do is going into your Azure tenant, you can actually create new Azure OpenAI. Okay. Now the idea behind this service inside your domain is Microsoft is guaranteeing that your data that this model will be trained on will not be shared publicly. So whatever answers you get from ChatGPT, if Jyotsna asks a question and a similar question is asked by Stuti, Stuti and Jyotsna may get the same responses because it's shared. Whereas this Azure OpenAI is inside your Office Azure portal, so it is within your boundaries of your data center. So all the questions that you ask to it will remain internal. That's part one. The part two is when you think about business questions, they you are expecting answers from the business data. Let's say, which are my top 10 selling item for last 10 years, let's say. Now that answer will come based on if there is data available associated with it. Now, when you kind of subscribe to the service here and create different models which are available, there are ways that you can feed data into this model to train it. So then let's say you exposed your item ledger entry if you have to find the top 10 selling item. And then the AI model learns based on their data and then it can answer your questions. Okay. Now, Microsoft have implemented it a little bit in Business Central right now, and there is a whole setup page for it even in Business Central 23, if I'm not wrong. So if you just search for OpenAI or Copilot capabilities, you'll see that there is a page. Here, these are the two models which Microsoft have available right now, which you can use. When you, as a developer or as a company, decide to build your own model here by using this service, you need to register that model by some code inside of the center. Sorry, so that that's available here. And then using the new page type, what is that? What is that new page type? I completely forgot. Let's have a look. Let me open VS Code. Anybody remembers that new page type that I'm thinking about? Okay, let me see if I can do that quickly. Page and page type. It's not here. Okay.
Is
It's
it
not
prompt
releasing.
dialog?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. So there's a new page type called prompt dialog, which kind of acts as an interface between the AI model behind the scene that you have in your as your portal and in your business center. So that prompt dialog is where you enter your prompt. A prompt is typically a question that you're asking, and then that prompt processes it and send it back to your as your portal, and then your model inside that replies to that question, which again comes back to the prompt. And when the response comes back, you can then format that response and then show it as a table or as a open reply. So that's how the future looks like, that you set up a whole model here using as your OpenAI on your data center, and then you can add that into this page via an extension, and then your prompt dialog, as Avinash reminded me, you can use that capability to integrate these two systems to talk and to get replies and responses from it. If you're thinking about the data perspective on which that AI model will learn, you cannot give it the whole database access. That's still not available. There are certain options that you can use as your file storage. You can upload files if needed, and then it kind of learns from it based on my learning that I'm doing on it. The best files that it learned from are the JSON files. So now, if you have hopefully have done it, Business Central allows you, by writing very simple code, to convert an object into JSON, and then you can upload it into an Azure cloud storage. And then that storage can be fed to Azure OpenAI to learn from the data that is getting updated from Business Central. And based on that data, then it can send you responses back to Business Central if needed. Questions? Confusions? Okay. So if this is of interest, you can just add that into the chat section. We might do a full-fledged demo of how you kind of, whatever we are discussing, how it all comes to reality, how you build a model, and then how you register it here, and then how you utilize a prompt dialog to get responses from your, let's call it, professional chat GPT inside your organization. Okay, so it all started with just asking it. So there are two areas where it is available. Marketing text was available very early, but then this setup was not available. But now you'll be able to see which are the models that are available from Microsoft, or are you using an ISV model, or you have a custom model. Everything will be listed here. And then there are code units available, which can make this interaction pretty simple of talking to your model and getting responses back. At this point, it's bank account reconciliation. And if you look into the release note of Business Central 24, let me see. You will notice that they are coming up with some new models in the upcoming release. One is specifically around creating sales line using Copilot, which would be interesting to see from a development standpoint, because what data they are sending back to the model that they have built, and then what kind of responses are coming back in, that will help you with that. So here is the sales line creation with Copilot, which I personally don't understand how this is something needed to add sales line into the sales order. But this is something which will come up in the GA, which is what, 2-3 days now, and this will automatically, this is the prompt dialog which Avinash reminded us. You kind of add details what you need, and then it goes back to ChatGPT or OpenAI model and get your responses, and will add new lines into your sales orders. That's one thing that's coming up on the Copilot side. I'd be interesting to see what they are doing with the chat, because I would imagine that this is how they are envisioning it, that I can ask questions. Now, this is majorly kind of getting access to a model which is publicly hosted, because then and only then you'll get good responses. So it'll be interesting to see how they bake it in from a model perspective. But you'll be able to ask questions on your different pages, and hopefully it gets the context of the page and helps you with the prompt. I was thinking that they might do something around the help or the tooltip kind of things, which are very static right now, which is written by developers like you and us. If a model can be trained, which can generate based on all the data that is available around Business Central, that'll be cool, I guess. Help about fields, that seems to be coming up. Product information, this is on the similar lines as the marketing or the product marketing feature was available. So you will be able to suggest variant, use and union of major substitutions and dimensions. So you'll kind of get this window everywhere in your system going forward. And then as it's Copilot, it'll give you suggestions. So as I said, when somebody clicked on this button, based on the context of the item where it is in, it surely sent out that context back to the model. And then once the model reply came out, it was well formatted into a table format. And then you have options to keep it or discard it, because in the Copilot world, you are the person who make the final call. It is not going to write directly into your tables. Okay.
That's pretty cool, because okay, let's see, we have a module or a custom module, and those things we do not find in the help page. But then I think the Copilot, we can write our own things, publish it, let the OpenAI understand it, and then it's like a good user guide, I would say, once it's matured. Yeah.
Yep.
That's very interesting. Okay.
Because, and it's maybe very hard to kind of explain while I'm talking about it, what are the capabilities into it. And I didn't know that we are going to talk about it, because it's costed money. So I just deleted. I did my test, as you can see here, and then remove them. But there are a lot of possibilities here. You can even train the model that if this kind of prompt is sent to you, how you need to kind of act on it. So now think about it, and you might have seen these videos from Caston, if I'm spelling his name correctly. Sorry if I'm not. Where he showed that he trained the model that you can type something that, okay, schedule this report every day at 6 p.m. The model was trained in a way that it picks up those words and understand that this means the user is trying to create a job queue entry. And now think about power of APIs. So what it did, that if this kind of request comes in, then break it into these different pieces, take the time out of it, take the date out of it, take the object ID out of it, and then call the Business Central API to actually create a record into the job queue entry table. So there is a lot that you can do when you get into this. The Azure OpenAI, you can specifically train the model saying what kind of request it is getting and what kind of response it should be sending. So it's pretty sleek or pretty cool how you can do things around it. So if it is an area of interest for most of us, I'm not sure about the next time, but for sure in the future meetings, we can surely do certain things around explaining you how this whole model works in the Microsoft Azure portal. Okay, I'm still figuring it out because this is going to come pretty late into the game. But now they're saying that they can create Power Automate flows more or less from Copilot. So there is a lot happening, and not just into Business Central from the Copilot side. In every product from Microsoft, Office 365, you say it, CRM, Power Automate already have a good amount of AI or Copilot built in. So I'm hoping we'll see a lot of it, and that surely opens up some new doors because you can provide different kind of services using the Copilot features that are baked in. Okay, any questions about the Copilot piece?
Thanks for the overview, Saurav. It really helps and it's more interesting now. Maybe once it's matured and everybody agrees, then we can have a session, like you said. That would be nice to see.
And it doesn't need to be matured. It's matured that much that you can actually set it up today. The Microsoft have the code available inside Business Central that you can just refer to write your code, and the Azure part is I requested it and Microsoft was with their blessing I got this. So now I can actually go ahead and create a new AI model if needed. So if that is something of interest, as I said earlier, we can surely create it because in my subscription I have permission to do it. When you reach on this page on your subscription, what you'll see here at this area, you'll see a hyperlink where you can request by using Microsoft Forms. So you need to submit some details, and then normally they take at a max 10 days if I'm not wrong. And if it is approved, then you then can create your OpenAI models. What Microsoft is baking in, that surely will be interesting, specifically how they are sending that data to the model, because I don't want items on my sales line which belong to your business, right? So that is surely happening some way that my data is brought to the model so that it can make those judgments. Okay. Okay, anything else, anyone on this? Okay. If not, we'll talk about it in future. Okay. So anyone used anything at this moment? Or I said something out. I was playing with some of the stuff, and let me try to showcase those. This is my preview version, and maybe I need to go to, yeah, this is the preview version, and this have my extension. So if you have noticed that from last 2 releases or 3 releases, Microsoft is paying a lot of attention toward error handling or user experience when there's an error message. Now they announced a new data type that you can handle error infos and add more options rather than just an OK button, so that the user can make a next action onto that error. But then they were ended up with scenarios which are non-developer friendly, which are kind of static to platform. And one of those scenario is a test field, right? So when you write a test field, what happens? We all know it tests out the value. If you don't specify a value, it just checks it that does that field have a value or not. And then the platform generates a built-in error message that this field, which is not user intuitive, no, as a developer and a consultant, we might be able to understand it, but from a user perspective, it's a little bit hard. So they kind of introduce a very small feature just for the test field scenarios specifically. So for the demo, and I was doing it for something else, but I added a field on the item table called currency code. I have a table relation on currency, add that onto the page, and then also added a subscriber saying that whenever the purchasing code is changed, it need to verify that there is an ISO code available on that particular currency, which you have selected on item card, right? So let's see what happens in the new version of Business Central when you as a developer don't have to worry about logical errors at that point. Okay, so let's pick an item and let's see that. So here is that field. Let me just verify that CAD does not have the ISO code. No, it have. Okay, so let's remove that for the demo. Okay. Now at this point, if I change purchasing code, typically what would happen that there will be an error message, and that'll also be there still. But let's see what changes. So the message is there. This is the message. ISO code must have a value in currency code CAD. Now this is a simple table, one field primary key. Otherwise, it have said document type, order, document number this, and then a long error. It cannot be zero or empty. Now you and me as a consultant or a developer will understand it, but from a user perspective, it gets a little bit tricky. So now going forward, when you write a test field, system will automatically do this on your code. Let me open that. It'll take the context of where the error is generating, which is a currency table. Nice. It goes to the currency table at that point and checks for lookup ID or the drill down page ID, whatever is available. Then it goes to that page, whatever is set, and in that page, it looks for the card page ID. And if all this link is found, then it creates a hyperlink to this particular page with the context of the record that is in question, which is my currency code CAD. Okay. Now here, when you go here, now you see this show currency card. When you click on it, it'll open the currency card for that exact currency. And then I can come back and set this as a user, which then you'll have to redo it, but gives you the next set of step as a user that you have to proceed with. Now there are some limitation. It does not work if the error or the test field that you're doing is on the current context. If you have test field on the same table item card, then it cannot populate the other item card for you to set it up. So it will not run in that cases. I haven't tested it out in those scenarios where you don't have a lookup page ID and drill down page ID, but I'm pretty sure it will not work because this action select from full list also works based on the same detail or the same sequence that it looks up for the lookup table ID, lookup page ID on your table, source table, and then looks up for the card page ID. If the card page ID is defined, then it pops up the card for the selected record, or it populates the list of it, whatever is defined over there. So I'm optimistic that this test field feature is also working in the same sequence of step, or the same flow is same for that. Any questions on this one? Any thoughts, comments? Okay, So there was a question here from Kamal regarding MB820 and no exact update how to prepare for it. I guess there is updates as Srinivas did send you. When the last time I checked for it, I was able to even register for exam from India, which was a blocker in the beginning when it was in the beta phase. But now you can register for the exam. And thank you, Srinivas, for putting that link for others. But yeah, you can surely go through that. It covers a lot of things. Let's see if I can open that here. Okay. It covers a lot of things into your development skill, a little bit more than I expected, to be very fair. Customizing Business Central, easy application upgrade experience, administration of Business Central SaaS, development environment, debugging, pages, data model for a report, code units, XML port, entitlements and permission set. And does anybody know entitlements that are out for partners yet or not? I'm not sure about it. But then it is queries, add-ins, add-in objects, maybe personalize and design. Sorry, functional table type, and basic programming performance, control add-in, source control and Git, application lifecycle management, automated test, and not just that, Power Automate, REST client, Azure functions, web services, and API. So I don't think this is kind of beginner level exam. It surely is an intermediate or inexperienced exam where it is expecting you to know almost everything as a developer at this point, it seems. And so this, can we get some idea about the WIP process in job module? Well, there are responses falling in automatically. Man, can you try to explain what you mean by that? Some idea about the WIP process in job module. Question.
Creating a job and job planning lines. What is the exactly purpose of processing that WIP? How the entries are created, and what is the exactly reason of that?
I surely will have to go through it before I can
May I
say
step
anything
in?
on it. Go ahead. Yes, sir. Please go. I didn't notice you were here.
A functional
Welcome.
consultant, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So, Mayank, what happens if, let's say, you get a big project which runs for 3 years,
Huh?
and you are going to invoice it at the end of that contract to the end customer. So for
Uh-huh.
3 years, you will have basically no expenses because every expense you are going to incur will go to the job, and it's not
Uh-huh.
your expense, and there will be no income. So what accounting standards require is that periodically, based upon the method that you adopt for job costing, you recognize some of the revenue even though you have not invoiced it.
Uh-huh.
And the same thing for the cost. So that is what is WIP. WIP means work in progress. Contract is in process.
Uh-huh.
It's not billed fully, but you recognize what is my revenue and what is my cost. So there are methods to calculate it
Uh-huh.
provided within the job, and
Uh-huh.
accordingly system creates the entries.
Right, right, right. And
Just a basic idea.
okay, and once we invoiced to the customer, all the recognized revenue set off against that invoice, or how it does calculate it?
So next time when you do it, system calculates what is unrecognized and it recognizes part of that. So if total is say 100,000 is supposed to be recognized. You have invoiced only 80,000, so it will
Mhm.
do it for 20,000. In the next period, let's say the value of invoicing gets to 200,000, and you need to have say 300,000 as the total revenue should be recognized. So the difference between both of these figures, system will recognize and keeps on reversing the old one and adjusting it.
Right. Okay. Thank you for the knowledge.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mang. Okay, Kamal, you have a question around KQL question. As I completed some of this, but I read there is KQL question, but not read that at all. KQL should be part of if there is a topic around telemetry, or I don't think yet they have a part around. Mhm. So yeah, KQL for sure is part of the performance telemetry feature that's available in Business Central SaaS and on-prem. That is related to KQL. So I haven't read it. As you said, you have read it, so I'll not be the right person to comment on it. But if there's a KQL question, then that would be related to that, or the new thing that they launch around reporting. What is that? Dataverse? No. Fabric. Fabric also have something around KQL. So I'm pretty sure Fabric questions will not be here at this moment because it's pretty new. But in the performance or debugging areas, uh, if they are talking about application insight and telemetry, then there will be some references of the KQL. And somebody was trying to say something? No? Okay. And let me see. Anything else here? Okay, this is thing that you can talk about, whatever is happening on the chat. Okay. What else? I need to understand from you, also are on this call, is what is the use case of this? What I'm going to show now. Okay. So I was playing with it, as I said, and I noticed that here there's something called as page scripting. Okay. Now Microsoft projects it from perspective of let me be very right on it. Let's exactly go there.
Training and UATs, right? It
Yeah,
prepares,
something like
it
that.
records
Yeah.
basically whatever you are doing so that you can give it as a reference.
Yeah, and I was a little bit confused about it from a use case perspective, not from the feature perspective. But yeah, they call it for acceptance testing. Now, the way it works, as Sandeep sir kind of said it a little bit, is you enable it here and it'll start recording. Now, remember, this is in preview. And also remember that it works across you know, customization. This is not limited to Microsoft extensions. Your extension, your ICB extension, everywhere it'll work. Okay. The only thing that will not work in is the control add-ins, the Power BI fact boxes that are available, because those sections are not the core Business Central things, but any other customization will work. So let's try to create a customer while keeping this on. Again, remember this, it's still in preview. So there will be changes on how it works. And hopefully in the main GA release, there might be some enhancement under it. So from here, you can start the new recording. Let's do that. And now choose your steps wisely because it'll record it. So I'll click on customer, record it. That I somehow clicked on a customer link that is on a page. And then the default action that happens behind the scene is also recorded, that the customer page was shown. And let's say I would like to create a new customer. So I said new, and it recorded that I invoked the new action. Now, because there are templates available in the Cronus database, I can see this. So let's say I said, let's say cash customer, and everything that I'm doing is recording, and click OK. Okay, sounds fair. Now I can do certain things while doing this. One of the things that I can do is I can come here on the page and right click and say, oh, I would like to use the user ID as this field value. I hope there will be more options available in the session info. Right now, it's only user ID. So when I do this, it'll remember that I'm not entering the word admin. It'll remember that I'm entering the session.user ID. So if you run it, it'll take your user ID while it is being run. The other thing is if I'm directly typing value into it, let's say demo address, this text will be stored as it is. But because I click tab, it recorded my next step as I focused on this field, which I don't want to record. So what I can do is I can actually delete this if needed. I cannot go back and delete anything else in the middle because that automatically means all the child steps will be deleted. So it's always only be enabled on your last step. Okay, so far so good. Now let's say I would like to copy this value and I would like to use it on my address too. So again, let's right click and use a copy. Now there is a built-in clipboard about it. So it copies it and keeps a step here that copy the value from the number field, not the value, storing the reference of that field. And then I can actually come here, right click and say paste. This time I see two options, the session info, which was earlier, and the customer card number field. I can do that. And then it says input the clipboard value from the customer card to this particular field. Now this all looks good, but in testing, there are scenarios where you would like to do certain things conditionally. That if this, then this. So let's say here, I would like to add a conditional step based on the country or the region. So I can actually come here and say, add a conditional step when, whatever your condition is, this time it says if it is US. And you will notice that it automatically added a scope or a parent-child relationship here. Anything that I do right now after this will be recorded only and executed only if the country code is US. And let's say, let's try it out. I said the phone number should be 123456789, and the email should be, let's say, my email. I don't want the focus on homepage right now, so let's delete this. Now all these three steps are under if the country or region is US. And now that's all I want to do in this condition. So if I have to end this, on top, you'll notice that as soon as you started a conditional statement, a new action was added to end the scope. When you click on end scope, it understands that whatever is inside this will only execute if country or region is US. Okay, what else is there? You can actually do a validate on a value. So I said here under page scripting, if the current value is validate is, and it recorded it. Not just this. If I don't like what I did, I can actually come here and go to properties and actually change my response with the operator of equal to, not equal to, greater than, equal to, less than, and things like that. And this all is powered based on PowerFX, which is the whole Power Domain language. What you see on Power BI, uh, Power Automate, and Power Apps. So that kind of bits in here. If I do want to do a conditional thing, let's say I would like this value homepage to be set as, let's say, yeah, my customer name. Okay. So I can again come here as we did earlier and do the paste. The value is still in the clipboard, even if I have done 10 different steps at this point. Done. But I can actually come here as we did earlier and add the properties. And remember, this all is coming from PowerFX. So you need to know a little bit of PowerFX to kind of do this. But I'm just doing a string concatenation, saying whatever comes up on that field, before that add www, and after that, let's say add.com. And let's save this. So now, going forward, what will happen when I try to rerun this? This will become www.c00, whatever the customer number.com as a step. Now, whatever we did in all this, there was a conditional step, which is the select template. Because right now I'm running it on a Acronis database, they have templates, but there might be a scenario where customer does not have a template available on the system. They don't use templates. So now you can actually come here and make this as an optional page. The system is so smart that it understands that when you are setting up it optional and automatically creates a subset of activities which are aligned to that particular control. So if the template is not available, it will not execute these 3 steps into the run. It will directly come and enter the name. Sandisha, am I missing something? I think that all was there in this at this point, other than saving, which we'll do now.
I haven't tested yet.
Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this. Obviously, the save. Should I have stopped it? Yes. Let me do that first. Okay. So let me stop this first. Okay. Done. Now let's save this. Now remember, this file is not getting saved into your database. It is actually coming down into your file system. So let's say customer creation. Done. Okay. Now you can run this, obviously, but remember, because it starts from the home page, you need to be on the home page to create it. Okay. Last customer that we have is C0060. We are on our home page or role center page. I can come here and say, okay, you will run from here. Okay. And then I'll just play this. Okay. It popped up the customer list, chose the template, created a new customer, created the name, added the address, generated my home page, and also took my email address. Okay. Not ending this at this moment because then I have some questions. And those are causing a little bit trouble in my head. So let's open that file. So it actually creates a YAML file. It is not creating a JSON. It is not creating an XML. It is creating a YAML file. And where you have seen a YAML file other than this?
DevOps.
DevOps. Okay. Yes. Right. So you can actually manually, if you know, you can actually manually change the content of it. And I've tried it. It does work. If you are very exact on writing the captions or control that you have, you can actually modify it here. And then you can go back to your screen if you're on a separate customer. And let's close this and refresh this because this does not get saved, the template, into your database. So as soon as I refresh this, it'll forget that I did a recording because that file is with me. But then now I can use other option to upload a recorded session that I've done. And then I can re-execute it if needed. So at this point, let's go back to our favorite homepage and let's try to go to that option and let's try to open recording. And I can now do the load. And the same steps will be reloaded here. Okay, that was a feature. Now let's talk about the questions. 1, what is the use case for this? I'm still trying to figure it out.
So if you have to send it
If you
for
want to see, Yes,
Go
you
ahead.
can.
Go ahead.
Okay, so one use case that I can think of at the top of my head is because sometimes, let's say, there are some users. From the user's perspective, what I can think of that there are some users, uh, like because I have come across some situations or some users that if I give them a documentation to how to create a customer, and then they are new users to the environment, they actually don't go through it, and then they give me a call and then ask me to explain how it works. So yeah, so maybe this is something that is shareable with them. uh, I don't know, that's just one use case that I can think of, like this recording.
The only problem that I see here with that, and I don't mind doing that, is that it's actually creating the data, which limits it to not to be executed on a production environment. Okay, because whatever your steps are, from a partner or a developer perspective, let's think about it. If I spend 20 hours into it and I build a complete process flow for my customer. The problem is, it's not like automated test which creates the data and then automatically deletes it. It is actually saving that data into your system. And I'm going.
That's fine, but that's what the caption says. So the title for this is for acceptance testing.
Agree.
So the idea behind this is to let people test, record it for documentation purpose and future training, as was mentioned earlier, plus as a proof that you have tested it. So with this thing going into cloud, what is happening more and more is auditors are asking for proofs. That how did you test it? Show me the proof
Right.
you tested it.
Right.
Earlier, most of the people what they do is screenshot. Now this is better than screenshot.
Okay. Let me, and people who have been in these meetings know me that I think a little bit loud, and not sometimes, most of the time I'm wrong. But remember the question that I asked: where do you see a YAML file other than this? Is in your DevOps. How about in future you can bake these files, and this is just an assumption, a completely wild guess. Like you can bake in your automated test in your pipeline. How about you bake in these in your pipeline so that whenever your Docker is being created, your extension being deployed, your automated tests are being executed, after that, this runs and validates that you did not broke something that was working in the past. You don't need to see it as an yes, as Sandeep sir and Jyotsna said, that yeah, maybe there is a use case scenario from a user acceptance perspective. But I'm now again thinking as a developer perspective, that did I broke something? Did I change the name of this field? Because for sure, all this scripting is happening based on these field names, right? So when you look at this YAML file, and let's navigate to the step, customer list, customer template list, and where is the number? There'll not be number, but new customer card name. Okay, session user ID. Type input, customer card, field address, but it does not store. Oh, the value is this demo address. Now, is it the field or page? Okay, now this is interesting.
Now, can you do one thing?
Yes,
Can
sir.
you go to the Business Central and reopen that screen where you had that, where you started this scripting?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
On the original one. So this is already got data, but when you start, when the original window appears for
Oh, so
scripting.
here.
So
For the
clear everything.
scripting.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's refresh this. That's interesting. I like to see what's running on your mind.
It's not on my mind. It's what Microsoft is saying.
Oh, okay. No, I like wild guesses because I'm super
Your guess
excited
is
about wild guesses.
100% correct.
Oh, did I? Okay. Yes, sir.
Read what it says for testing and automation purposes.
Oh, I did not read this. Okay. testing and automation purpose. Okay. The other interesting thing that I just noticed, and I didn't pay attention to this when I was testing this, that it is not pointing to the page field. It is actually pointing to the field name. So until unless, which is not possible in PC, you go and change the field name, which you will never do. Okay, at least on SaaS, you can't do. It will not break. So literally, I can actually come here and let's test this out because, sorry guys, this is how I am. You give me something and I get into wild chasing of things. So if I come to this customer, which is just created, we use the address to be demo address. Let's pick up a field. Let's do this. This is the open field, I hope. Yeah, this is the open field. How about if I change the reference to this field in my file? And I'm talking about the field name. I'm not talking about what's the caption is. So it's tax registration number, something like that. No, I don't see that. Why? What is this field?
VAT registration number.
Thank you. VAT registration number. Nice. And this is a good field then, because then I can actually check. Okay. So the field name in table is VAT registration number. How about if I copy this, come back here, and instead of saying that it should put it into the address, use it on this field. Input value demo address into caption. Oh, caption address. Oh, it's a description. I don't think this matters. Okay, so let's save this. Okay, file save as, and let's do 2. Okay, done. Let's import this. Let's see what happens. Come back here. Go back here. Let's upload the file. 2. Okay. Hopefully my thing has changed. No, it still says demo address into address, which was the description, I guess. That's where it is coming from. But let's run this. Let's see what happens. Okay. Popping up, selecting template, creating customer. Okay. Trying to fetch my name and it's taking long. Okay, that's okay. Oh, it did work. It did work. The demo address actually was placed here instead of here. Now
You change the
that
field
is super
reference,
cool.
but not the caption.
Yeah, I did not change the caption, but now think about the possibilities. Because now you or me can go ahead and actually write this file. I just need the context on the top, which I'll use the system for, which is the name, description is okay. The start is the profile where you're starting it, or hopefully the page name where you're starting it. And then once I reach to the context of the page, let's say the card page, rather than doing it into the system, I can actually copy this for each field that I want, like this, and add new steps into it.
But why will you
And,
type?
oh no, not typing, but then remember that you have this also, right? And it's learning with you. So going forward, this Copilot will write these steps for me because it will understand my style of coding that I'm doing and will start auto suggesting me.
Or how
So
will it
see,
know which fields to do?
it'll suggest, right? It's not. And
I
sorry,
would still,
I'm going
I
in.
would still prefer to do it on the front end, right?
Yeah, that's your perspective as a consultant. My perspective as a developer, I would rather do it here to kind of make it simple, right? So let's say this was address, so let's bring it back to address. Okay, and then let's keep it as it is. Okay, if everything looks good, and let's say it's manual address. Okay, and now let's save this as v3. Now it should also have the address and also have this. Now, yeah, there is a debate that I'll do it on the client or not, but if you can write your steps very clearly, user can write their steps very clearly. I may be able to do it faster on the file than doing it on the client. No offense, but that's how it's kind of looks easier to me from that perspective. But yeah, I did not reach to this point when I was doing it alone. So thank you guys for doing this, because this is interesting if this can work like this. There are hopes that, not hopes, once it kind of bakes into the product completely, we'll see what else Microsoft comes up with. But right now, it can do certain things for you. And then we have tried both the things, changing the field name on the file and also changing the field name. There was an error or a message. I don't know. What was that? Oh, yeah. There was an unexpected message. Oh, already entered. So, okay. That's a warning.
Error
Seems.
handling.
Error handling, yeah. Yeah, but it did add the manual address, which I manually added onto the file. It did add it here also.
Yeah, it's YAML, so whatever is
Yeah.
available, it will execute.
Yeah, sounds fair. Okay, so we are nearly at end of our meeting, but if you have anything that we need to talk about next week, if you have any problems, any questions, send them my way on my Gmail ID. Don't send it on this ID. This is just, I'm trying to figure it out things with one of my account, which is kind of blocked right now. So if you send it on Gmail, I'll surely try to add them into the next meeting. If you have a topic in mind, let us know. If you want to present something, please let us know. We're open for that also. Thoughts, comments? Otherwise, we're good to go, I guess, at this point.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. I heard
you.
about this page scripting on Waldo session, but yeah, you move it one step further, so I
Oh,
like it.
did I? Okay.
Yeah, we should give it a
Man.
try. I just like what that session and don't understand like the use case or how it works more, but it is becoming more clear to me now.
Thank you. Sounds
Thank you
great.
so much.
Thanks. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you all. You all will get an
Thank you,
invite
sir. Thank you.
next week.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you,
you.
man. Sooner than Thursday. Thank you, Vijay. Thank you, and see you then. Okay,
Thank you. Bye.
I'll end the meeting. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Okay,
Thank you. Bye.
thank you. Hmm. Okay, so if you are still here and listening to this recording, let me quickly brief you around how you can join. There will be a page which was used earlier, and I'll try to use it again if needed. Well, not needed, it's needed. Which is this link. So you can just go to this link, and this page should be updated by Monday, hopefully, to kind of with the registration link where you can register for the next webinar. If you want to be the default attendee, you know the drill. Come to this meeting once, drop your email, and we'll make sure that you get invited to the future meetings. Let us know what you think about the first 2024 season BC Open discussion, and we'll see you next time. Till then, have a good day and see you.